By the end of 2023, I found myself juggling a whole bunch of things in my life. I started developing my freelance profile in QA engineering and design. I prepared my case for the UK Global Talent Visa. I had a whole list of books, recommendations, podcasts that were waiting for me to be read or to be watched, so I felt overwhelmed by it all. And then I stumbled upon the Getting Things Done, a productivity system created by David Allen. I devoured his books for 2 or 3 evenings. While I was not ready to adopt every aspect of his system, I kept the general concept of the GTD system and crafted a Notion template for 2024 to keep my things organized. If you also feel overwhelmed with your personal and business stuff, as I was, keep watching this video. I'll show you my journey detailing on how I plan my work and life in Notion using the GTD system step by step. If you're already familiar with the GTD system, feel free to skip ahead to the next section on the play bar below. Here I'd like to quickly go over what GTD system involves and why it's so powerful. According to the GTD system, the entire workflow can be divided into 5 consecutive steps. Step 1, capture. Here our task is to gather all of incoming information into a minimal number of sources. Think of it as a general inbox where you collect all the incoming information to process it in the future, like email, tasks, meetings, some kind of references, and all these countless pieces of paper that I, or probably you, make and write ideas. There's no set limit to the number of sources, but David Allen insists on minimizing them, and I agree with it. Step 2, clarify. Once we have all incoming information in one place, so we need to clarify it. And here there are a few options. First, we need to determine if this piece of information that we received is somehow actionable. If it's not, like the result of your examinations, certificates, tickets, some other stuff, it doesn't require any action from you. So we move to a no path here. For non-actionable items, there are 3 main options. First, if it's no longer needed, move it to trash. If you still need it, but not right now, but you want just to keep it as a piece of information or as a reference, put this type of information to your references list. And the third option is for the rest information that came to your inbox. You don't want to start any project with this right now, but probably you will do someday. So for this type of items, we have a someday or maybe list. It's worth mentioning that all these GTD components like trash, maybe lists, reference lists, they can be implemented in any software or tools that is more comfortable for you. I personally prefer using Notion. So what about actionable items? First, you need to determine if this action takes 2 minutes to complete. If so, do it immediately while processing your inbox. If it takes longer than 2 minutes to complete, decide if you're going to take on this task or you're going to delegate it. If this is a task for you and it's a single step action, add it to your calendar, set priorities, and that's okay. But if this task requires multiple steps, create a project for it and split it into actionable single steps that you can take even right now to, after processing your inbox, to make your project forward. Mark all tasks with upcoming deadlines as the next action, so you can easily identify what the next should be done when you start your work. For less urgent tasks, set deadlines. So good, we processed all our incoming information in the inbox and now it's empty. Try keeping it empty all the time, at least by the end of the working day. Step 3, organize. This step is similar to the previous one and is usually performed together, but the difference is that in the previous step, we just clarified what type of information we received in our inbox. And here in this step, our main purpose is to sort everything out and to move it to the appropriate place. If the task requires multiple steps, create a project to house all the items associated with it and identify the next action that you can take to move project forward. Communicate with people that you need to delegate tasks to, and put all your referential materials to your references list. So to sum up, this step requires to organize everything right in place. Step 4, reflect. Each week, month, or quarter, set aside at least 1 hour to analyze your current projects, assess their progress, decide whether you need some additional help. So it's high time to understand whether you are on the right track. List all your review points somewhere for future analysis. I know it may sound a bit tedious, but once you try it, you'll soon find how valuable it is. It helps maintaining your sanity. Step 6, engage. With all your tasks organized, priorities established, deadlines set, it's right time to go deep into your work. Take the next action items and follow your priorities. Okay, these were the basics of the GTD system, but what it's worth mentioning here is that no matter what the system says, if it contradicts with your processes or feelings, adjust it as you need it, because all systems are flexible. You don't need to strictly follow the rules of the system or of other people, because it should work the best possible way for you. I'll also share my personal experience using Notion with the GTD system, but it may not be 100% suitable for you, and that's okay. I'm just sharing my experience and you can take some useful insights. Before we move on with Notion, I would like to show you a schematic view of how I organize my entire planning at a high level. It all begins with my broad and overreaching goals for 2024, which relate to my financial growth, personal development, traveling, and other things. As the next level, I've created projects that, as I predict, may lead me to my goals. In the context of the GTD system, a project is something that requires at least several steps to complete. For example, creating a YouTube video requires writing a script, editing, filming, creating thumbnails. So I can't just sit down and create a YouTube video and to upload it. So in this context, creating YouTube video is a project. But that's not something big that we got used to think of when we hear a project. And at the lower level of the scheme are tasks that are associated with the respective projects. Now that you're aware of my concept of the Notion planning, we can get back to it.
Okay, so following the GTD system, one of my primary sources of incoming information is this capture box that you can see right now on my screen. I prefer calling it capture rather than just inbox because it helps me quickly catch my ideas and input them directly here. Even when I'm away from my laptop, I can access it through the Notion app on my mobile phone. This is a simple database view filtered by unprocessed items, indicating that once I clear my capture box, I move the item to the appropriate place and tick the checkbox. As you can see, this item is no longer visible in this view because of the filter. If I open a capture box, which is a separate database on its dedicated page, I can look through everything that has ever been in my capture box, which is quite convenient. However, I don't need it on my homepage, so the view includes a filter for database items with the processed option checked. Finally, I have a type property to relate my entries to any type of activity, if it's a meeting or something to do in the city or requires research and so on. Despite the fact that the next block is projects on my homepage, we'll start from the high level of annual goals as it seems better to start with. As you can see, this table doesn't contain all my personal data as it includes sensitive information that I cannot share here. but I filled all the entities with dummy data to facilitate understanding. So my annual goals database includes properties such as the goals title and its progress towards completion, a relation property that defines which of my projects are related to this particular goal, again a focus area reflecting the type of this goal, personal, business, well-being, and the property when indicating the quarter of 2024 by which I hope to achieve this goal. On my homepage, I also have some more views of my database according to each quarter of the year. Here is the default template for a new goal. This has some points to fill in its body, but also a bunch of properties, for example, total to-dos, which counts the number of related projects to this goal, and based on each shows the progress of this goal. It's almost identical to the properties displayed in the database view, but with the exception of the year and total to-dos properties. So the next in my system is project database. Actually, I duplicate my project on the homepage twice as it's more convenient for me. The first location of my projects is within my annual goals section, as it's super fast and comfortable to have a list of all my projects right here. The second location for my projects is here, displayed as a gallery view. I meticulously select a proper illustration for each project to visually represent them. For me it works, at least from the aesthetic point of view. Additionally, I can easily track the progress of each project as the main criterion for my productivity in this gallery view. As I've mentioned earlier, all projects are broken down into smaller, fast achievable steps, which are tasks in my tasks table. I group them by their statuses, so I think it's the main point that attracts my attention each morning once I process my capture box and look through the upcoming meetings and tasks for today. That's why I have several filters here. Today for the most urgent and prioritized issues. This week to stay tuned with what's going on this week and what needs some more attention from me if the week is coming to its end. And this month and the quarter. Honestly, I don't use them too often, but anyway, it should be here. Tasks also have a default template and it's too simple here. I don't stick to any specific structure. One curious property here is an overdue formula property that calculates the due date of the uncompleted tasks and compares it with the current date. If the due date is the current date or earlier, it shows me the overdue message. It allows me to pay attention to such tasks, but I prefer not to see this flag, of course. I also keep here my YouTube progress board, but it's another database. I just needed to monitor my tasks separately from other tasks. On my homepage, I also have a section with quick buttons. They allow to create new entries immediately without having to open the respective databases. And this is the guide of my projects, a red-haired cat. Although he's lazy, he's just lying here and makes me smile each time I see him. There's also a section for my less frequently used links, maybe lists, where I put all things that I would probably start someday, but not right now. References. Here there are all my useful materials, extracts from articles, videos, podcasts, books, and so on. And a habit tracker to monitor my daily routine. And other meaningful lists for me that are out of the system, but anyway, I need them. So as you can see, it's all up to you how you organize your planning system. The most important point is that it should work the best possible way for you. And the final important component of GTD system implemented in my Notion planner is the review section, which you can see located to the right. I keep a review page for each month as database items. The default review page includes a checklist to verify everything. During my monthly review, first I process my capture box to empty it again. Next, I review all my current tasks for today, this week, and this month. I review projects that have at least one uncompleted task to make sure that everything goes according to the set deadlines and the initial plan. To be honest, sometimes it doesn't, but it's okay. I just set new deadlines. Then I review how my annual goals are going, update my habit tracker for the upcoming month, and finally make a quick analysis of what went good and what went bad during this month.
Okay, that wraps up the overview of my planning system and Notion for 2024. I hope you found some useful insights that help you keep organized your things and tasks and projects. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. It will help me so much. And we'll catch you in the next videos. Bye!